In the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. But what the hell does that have to do with women freezing their eggs? Well, in a slew of articles, which began cropping up at the beginning of this month, stories are being told of how women are freezing their eggs for later use, not in order to pursue educational or professional advancement, since they have largely already attained such things, but rather because of what is being deemed the man deficit. The man deficit is what seems to be the media's term for the gap between the number of educated, eligible, and successful men and women in the Western world. While this phenomenon may come as a shock to some, others who have been observing things like the mistreatment of boys in primary and secondary school, the preference shown for admitting women into post-secondary schools and employment opportunities, and the resulting growth of a segment of the male population opting to drop out of relationships altogether, will have been far less surprised by the lack of men as it has been described. But what has the response been by the experts in this situation? Well, it's been mixed. Some of the response, predictably, has been to criticize men for failing to bother fighting their way through an adversarial educational program, and professional hiring quotas that place male candidates at the back of the line or exclude them from the process entirely. But others have pointed out that more, indeed, needs to be done in the way of uplifting men, and that, if this man deficit continues, women will need to adjust their behaviors in their romantic pursuits and begin accepting, or at least considering taking, less accomplished men as partners. And this is where the one-eyed man analogy comes in. You see, in this situation, there's sort of two outcomes for that. The one-eyed man is either the literal man who is simply more educated and accomplished and manages to be the top of what's remaining of the man deficit, or it represents the woman who is most readily willing to adjust her aspirations in her romantic pursuits and accept the fact that if she's going to attain much greater levels of educational and professional accomplishment, that there will be a correspondingly smaller pool of men from which to draw a romantic partner if she's insistent upon them being more accomplished than herself, or, as it's being shown, even as accomplished as herself. A lot of people are also saying that the problem is coming from men who are simply intimidated by a successful woman. They are intimidated by her success, whether it's professional or educational, and that her attainment in life is somehow putting men off from wanting to pursue her romantically. Speaking only out of my own experience, I can indeed attest to the fact that when I look at a dating profile that says, oh, this person holds this job, they're a registered nurse, or they're going through for their PhD in this, that, or the other, and I know that here I am with lowly college experience in business management, entrepreneurship, and business sales and marketing, I don't feel intimidated by the fact that she is more educationally accomplished than I am. But I have noticed the pattern that when interacting with these very accomplished women, that they seem to be far less inclined to respond to anyone who they may see as being below them or simply less accomplished than they are. But those have been my thoughts on this situation, and I'd like to get yours. So, if you do have an opinion on this whole man deficit scenario, feel free to throw it down in the comments down below this video, and I will get back to you as quickly as I possibly can. And I should note that this applies to anyone, regardless of your opinion, whether you think that men simply need to get good and rise above the challenges placed in front of them, or whether you think that women need to start reconsidering their status in the romantic world as it pertains to their educational and professional attainment. Either way, again, my thoughts, I'd like to hear yours. Leave a comment down below, and have a great day, folks.